Monday, March 29th, 2021. I am James. You are you. We are here for the beginning of the week. This beginning of the week is so unique because we are on the verge of saying goodbye to March. And so many things have happened in the month of March, haven't they? The curfew that we are all under as Montrealers has been extended. We have celebrated Connor Rose's birthday. We have celebrated 1 year of this show. We have celebrated the first ever at-home awards as we say goodbye to the month of March. There's only 2 episodes left in this delicious third month of this year. And it begs the question, what does April have in store for us? Will Friday's episode be vastly different than what we have become accustomed to, than what we have become used to in the month of March? I'm going to tell you this. Last night, I was not having a good night. It was not a good night, and I did something that I don't do very often. I laid in the tub, filled up the tub with water, and I just laid in the tub. And that's right, I was naked. I'll say it right here. I don't care if it's only 9 o'clock. This might be something people only admit to other people at about, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was not wearing any clothes. And don't get me wrong, I have been in the bathtub a multitude of times with clothes on. But that's a story for another episode. What did I do while I was laying in the tub? I was thinking and I was pondering and I was considering, what do we do with this show after such a successful month of episodes? Do we rehash some particularly fun themes? Do we have more and more guests on one episode at one time? Or do we start to get real weird with it? And in thinking that, and now expressing it, and saying it out loud, the question begs, will April be a turning point for At Home on Twitch? Are we going to blow the roof off? Are we going to kick the door in? Are we going to put some onions in a pot and burn them on the stove? I'm saying this right here, right now. Anything and everything is on the table. And you can take that to the bank. Look, what's going to happen on tonight's show? I'm very pleased about tonight's show. We're starting the day off with a variety of pleasant people. Now, usually we get jokers and clowns on this show who take pleasure in bullying me verbally. They come on here and they pick on me and they tease me. Not tonight. I thought if I'm going to start the week off, I don't want to be a victim of verbal abuse on this show. If there's going to be any verbal abuse happening, it's going to be from me towards Dimitri. And Dimitri, well, he ain't here tonight. Maybe on Friday in April. Stay tuned. Who's on the show? Much later on, we have the return of the legendary ice road trucker, Randy McWayne. You know him as someone who has shipped bottled water across the country. Not only does he ship it, he bottles it himself. Randy McWayne is going to be here to talk about his latest shipment, and maybe if we're lucky, he'll give us an update on his penchant for glory holes. I realize that I said we only had pleasant guests on set, but who am I to say a glory hole isn't pleasant? I've never experienced one, either giving or receiving. Perhaps it's a very pleasant experience. I can't speak to that. Also here tonight, a guest who is notorious for not wanting to be here. Every time this person appears on this show, we can call it a personal favor. Jess Fildes is here later on tonight. We're going to kick things off in just a matter of moments with a series of hard-hitting questions. Now, I know what you're thinking. When you watch this show and you hear me say that, you might be doing something else. For all I know, you're on your hands and knees doing a little puzzle on your rug with your tongue out like this as you're looking for the piece. and you hear me say hard-hitting questions on this show, and your head might turn, and you're thinking, what are you talking about? If this show is known for anything, it's about crude humor, sophomoric humor, immaturity. The last thing this show features is hard-hitting questions. Well, I will have you know that this first guest is the only person I have ever pre-prepared questions for, not once, but I've done it tonight. In his second appearance, I have got almost 10 unique questions, each more hard-hitting than the last. So why waste any time? Why inflate the importance of this segment any more than I need to? I just want to take this off track for a second. Before we went on the air, I thought, what am I going to talk about off the top of this thing? Maybe I'll get right to it. Right now, I'm pretty pleased with this intro. It's not the funniest. It's not the funniest of intros, but it's coherent. I have not stumbled over my words. I'm articulating so eloquently that I'm blowing my own mind. Let's put it back on track. Let's welcome our first guest. His microphone is incredibly hot right now. It's Alex Gauthier. Alex, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing very well. Not a lot of people ask me how I'm doing when they come on the show, so I appreciate that. Your parents taught you well, young man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, they did.
How was your weekend?
It was interesting. I worked on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and then I spent the rest of the weekend pretty much relaxing.
You say you were working. What type of work are you in? You laying pipe all weekend?
As a matter of speaking, more like
Mhm.
technological pipe.
All right, you're laying cable.
Actually, yeah. I was part of what I was doing was taping extension cords to the floor at a circus event in Montreal. It was
I
a
want to stop you right there. I want you to file what you just said under lines of dialogue no one has ever uttered, ever. I want you to repeat what you were doing this past weekend, Alex, one more time.
I was taping extension cords using painter's tape, if I want to be more precise, onto the ground for a circus event in Montreal.
Wow. And
Yeah.
can I ask you, how much did that pay?
It was $20 an hour for 8 hours.
How did you get this job? Aren't you a teacher?
I am a teacher.
The teachers of this province are having such a hard time that they have been reduced to picking up a second job, which includes, but is not limited to, using painter's tape to tape extension cords to floors at circus events.
Sorry, my fire alarm's going off.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you in the midst of your home burning down? Or did somebody burn some popcorn in the microwave oven?
I think so, yeah.
You want to go check on that?
No, someone's got it. Someone's frantically waving a towel near the fire.
Okay, so you're fine. So how did you get this job?
So a friend of mine works for, I don't know if I can say their name, so I won't.
Well, how about you make up a name?
Crazy Circus. Let's just call it Crazy Circus.
That's the name of the company, not your friend.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay.
I'll call my friend Dina as well.
Okay.
My friend Dina reached out to me and asked if I could help out, like just be like a second person essentially to help out during this Zoom/in-person circus event that was happening in Montreal.
Okay, so you got a side hustle taping cords to the floor.
Yeah, setting up big projection screens.
Now, when that happened, when they said you're also going to have to set up some projection screens, you're like, whoa, 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 I only signed up to tape wires to the floor.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Well, Alex, I want to not only congratulate you for picking up a bit of extra money during these difficult and uncertain times, as the news and various commercials like to say. Last time you were here, I prepared a series of hard-hitting questions, and you assured me that you would not pull any punches with your answers.
Mm-hmm.
One of these answers included how you were wandering around your school waiting to run into a young lady.
Yeah.
Did you take any other time to think you were basically stalking?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, when we are in our youth, that's, you know, we don't think of it as stalking, right?
No.
What would you call it?
I don't know. I guess it was like hoping. I think,
Hoping.
yeah, hoping. Like I would say, like wistfully wandering.
Mm. With the intention of finding this young lady.
Yeah, and with connecting to her, meeting her,
Mm.
realizing we had a lot in common. I don't know, grabbing some, like sharing our bag lunches.
Right. You didn't pull any punches. Now, that's the type of energy I want for us to bring into tonight's hard-hitting questions. Are you ready for this, Alex?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, you're a truthful young man.
Yeah.
I've never known you to be a flagrant liar, maybe an embellisher, but not a liar.
I'm definitely an exaggerator. I'm not going to
Right.
pretend that's not the case.
Well, okay, so I appreciate that you've admitted to exaggerating. So
Yeah.
some of these answers that we're about to get might be what we call stretched truth.
Yes, probably.
This is
It's
interesting
likely
that
at least one time I will stretch the truth.
Okay, well, let's begin with the first question tonight, Alex. Again, I've prepared these questions. This is a bit of a fun one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I'm a big flying guy for a while.
What do you mean by that?
Like I'm into the idea of being able to fly. Like I think it'd
Okay.
be real convenient. I've 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 traveled a lot. I've
Mhm.
also like I like the I spent I spent some time, like I spent a semester abroad in Spain,
Mhm.
and like one thing that would have been convenient during that is like if I could just fly home during the weekend,
Yeah.
see my parents. I was also dating someone in Montreal, so it would have been convenient for that.
Yeah, long
Um,
distance relationships are difficult. It
that's
would be
it.
easier if we could fly.
That's it. That's it.
All right, now, do you envision yourself needing a cape for this, or you can just jump into the air and fly?
I would say no cape
Mhm.
from the Incredibles, like that person who gets sucked into the plane turbine. Like I don't want
Yeah,
that.
I can't say that I'm familiar with this movie.
Okay. Well,
Is it a
there's it's
cartoon film?
yeah, well Pixar, so it's like
Okay,
3D animated. Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so flying would be your choice.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question. Alex, what's something that brings you great joy, but also something that sends you off the deep end?
Like, is it you're saying a thing that does both?
And that's interesting. Now, I didn't intend for that, but if there is something,
I would say, you know what? I'll
there
say
is.
driving.
Okay, tell us more.
Like I don't think it's any secret. I think I may have talked about it last time that I really enjoy road trips.
Yeah, that's
Um,
definitely not a secret.
no.
Imagine that was hey, can I tell you something? What? You can't tell anyone. Okay, man, I promise. I love road trips. Just waiting for the hammer to drop on the really salacious part. Just don't tell anyone. It's a secret. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go on a road trip. Yeah, so it's not a secret you love road trips.
Yeah. I mean, we've been on a few. We've driven to Ottawa, like 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm under exaggerating here. I feel like I don't
Well,
know
I would say that's accurate. That's accurate.
Okay.
We've been to Burlington together.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. We did.
No, excuse me. I
Burlington.
take that back. It was Lake Placid. I never went to
Right.
Burlington with you. I don't want to be an
Oh, that's
embellisher
fair.
here. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, but I think that I am someone like when I'm in traffic, driving downtown. I guess this is also not another like surprising thing, but I will get like road rage, getting cut off and stuff like that will drive me crazy.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you once pulled over by law enforcement for singing too loud in your car?
That is correct. Yeah, I was pulled over at the time I was singing. I guess now it's shameful because he's been outed as not a great person, but I was singing Eric Lapointe.
Well, he's maybe outed for not a great person, but also outed for his incredible vocal ability. Now, what song were you singing?
Man, it's been a while. I was dropping off also guest on the show, Mark Rowland, at his place.
Mm-hmm.
It was on
I
my
like
birthday.
that detail. I really like that detail that you added.
And so actually it's happened twice. One time I got pulled over, and one time the cop just gave me a thumbs up
Okay.
and was like, she's a great singer. Well, so the time when I didn't get pulled over, I was listening to Shania Twain
Mm-hmm.
driving back from Montreal North.
And you were singing.
I was singing, yeah.
Do you remember the song?
It wasn't Man I Feel Like a Woman because it was from Up. It's on a CD. It was from the Up country, like the green disc. There's a red disc, which was pop, and a green
Mhm.
disc, which was country,
Okay.
the more country one. And I think it may have been Up. Let's just say I think it was Up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what Eric Lapointe song were you singing that caused you to be pulled over and admonished for your volume?
And, to be honest, it's, I feel like it must have been trying to think of the songs that were on the album that I had.
Okay.
I think it was the Hell one. I'm blanking on the name right now.
How does
But
it
there's
go?
this
Just sing a bit of it.
I don't remember the words, but I remember the song is about how awesome hell is and how he's gonna go there when he
Well, do
dies.
you remember the tune of it?
It was like there was like a bass line that was like it was like very like
Can you make that noise again?
like yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next question. Alex, what's something that you love that most people dislike?
Well, I guess I feel like I'm gonna stick with Shania Twain here.
You think that most people dislike Shania Twain?
I think that there is a group of people that dislike Shania Twain,
Okay.
and she's one of my favorite singers.
Okay, well, what's some of your favorite Shania tunes?
I mean the classics, Man, I Feel Like a Woman,
Mhm.
Up, um,
You really like this Up album.
Don't Impress Me Much. There we
Sure,
go.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, Up is the album that I
Yeah.
had when like we had CDs in cars and
Mhm.
stuff, which I know wasn't that long ago, but
No, but it's still a relic of the past. Okay,
yeah,
so Shania Twain, I'm going to flip this now.
yeah.
What's something you dislike that most people enjoy?
That's a tough one. My first thought was a
And you
food
don't have to
thing.
you don't have to pull any punches here.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a food thing, but I'm really not picky. You know what? I'm gonna go a food thing. I really dislike like Alfredo sauce, like white
Okay.
sauce.
Too creamy.
Like, yeah, I can't do it. Get it out of my mouth.
Now, what if you're going to, let's say, significant other's parents' home for dinner, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have pasta for dinner." I know that my brain would immediately go to a red sauce,
Yeah,
a marinara.
yeah.
You get there and they put a big creamy pile of fettuccine Alfredo. Now, you're not saying, "Listen, Dad, get it out of my mouth."
You know what I do is I actually put a ton of pepper on it and just take the bullet.
Right. Okay. So you'd basically cancel out the creamy, cheesy flavor with a mound of pepper.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to our next question. Alex, what's one of your favorite smells?
Favorite smell. I like the smell of gasoline.
Okay.
I
So
like the
you like the process of pulling over to get gas.
um no, it's more like there's a very specific like when you're um either in a shitty car or on like or near a motorbike or near like
So
a
you
ski-doo.
so if you're inside of a shitty car, you like the smell of gasoline seeping into the vehicle.
I guess so, yeah. I never It's concerning, right? I know, but
Sure, yeah.
like or like I this is going to be another story. Me and my dad rented some snowmobiles this winter,
Mhm.
and that like the
Very
smell of gas,
gassy,
like
very
yeah,
gassy. Yeah.
exactly, like it was stuck on my clothes, and like I kind of enjoy it. Yeah,
Okay, so that's one of your favorite smells. Let's
yeah.
move on to our next question here. Alex, what would you describe as some of your guiltiest pleasures?
I
Now
already
you've
hit
never
Shania Twain, so it's
Yeah.
like I can't do that again.
Well, this is a safe place.
Guilty pleasure.
Mhm.
Guilty pleasure. I'm looking at my partner now to see if she can mouth anything to me.
Right.
No, she didn't give
Well,
me any.
you got a bit of a devilish smile right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm nervous. It's more of a nervous smile, I think. Like, I'm just
Nervous
like,
smile.
fuck,
Okay.
I can't think of
Yeah. Well,
what.
I can tell you're nervous. You're just cursing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there?
Now,
This is explicit, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to put some censors at the top of this show, but a couple warnings there. Now, is there anything maybe when you were a teenager that you were embarrassed about liking that you would never dare share with some of your schoolyard buddies?
No. So I was pretty shameless in high school.
Okay.
I guess now it would be embarrassing. Like, I used to wear these like extra large NASCAR shirts. Yeah, I'm just painting the picture with
When you
with
say
it.
you mean XL, like the actual size
Oh yeah,
XL? Now,
yeah.
why were you wearing such giant shirts?
I just thought, like, I think it was like a natural evolution in my mind of like,
Hmm.
you get older, you get bigger, and you wear bigger shirts. Like,
Right. Now,
it's
you and I would like to think, have similar body types.
yeah,
You're both as what I would refer to as slight.
yeah,
Right. Now, would you ever wear an XL NASCAR shirt now?
for a pajama maybe.
Yeah. Now, do you still have these shirts?
I think I've gotten rid of most of them. I do have one that I bought at a car show.
XL.
It's a large, at least. I
Okay.
think I may have by that time it was later. I bought it later, so I may have been more realistic about my own size and
So what
like.
I would like to know is next time you're on, can you find this shirt and wear it?
I think it's at my parents' place, but if I stop by
Let's
anytime in the
let's
future, I'll
let's see if
pick
we
it
can
up.
make this happen. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Let's move on to our next question. Alex, what is one of your most embarrassing moments?
I feel like I'm answering these questions before you ask them.
In some ways, yes.
Yeah,
In
I
some
feel
ways,
like
yes.
I've been anticipating your questions.
Yeah.
One of my most embarrassing moments. So I told a story at the French version of Confabulation.
And for people who don't know, Confabulation is a
Yeah.
storytelling show, and the French version is probably much louder.
Sure, yeah. And the story that I told was the time that I went on what I assumed was a date with a woman,
Hmm.
and totaled my parents' car.
Was it a date?
So this is the thing
What
is
happened? Were you just speeding there? Like, I got to get to the date. I got to get to the date.
no, so I went and picked her up and decided that it would be a good idea to do like an original date and take her mini putting to the putting edge in Laval.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were looking to seal the deal.
100%, 100%. I'd watched like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody where they do that thing where he
Wait,
like shows.
isn't that a children's show?
No, I was like 17. Like
Okay, well, I had imagined this was happening in your 20s and you were
no,
watching The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, was it? For
yeah,
dating.
exactly.
For date. Okay, I understand.
And so I went. She was a little bit older than me actually. She
How
was
much?
21 and I was 17 or 18.
So you were jailbait.
I was jailbait, yeah.
Now, did you like the idea of going out with an older lady?
I think so. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Now, afterwards, were you thinking maybe this is going to be my thing? I'm going to date a little bit older.
Well, so this is the thing. So what happened is to answer your question about me speeding, I wasn't speeding, but
Mhm.
at the time I had printed a MapQuest,
Of course.
and I had asked her to look at it, and she had like not really known what to tell me. So
Right.
what I did, trying to be smart, I was like, okay, I'll just put it on the steering wheel, and she screamed, and I like rear-ended an SUV and went under the SUV
Now,
because it
was
was
this
raining quite hard.
before or after mini putting?
We never got to mini putting.
So that was the date.
Yes, and then I went out. Or I'll let you ask your question if
Oh
you
no,
have.
please, after you.
So I got out and tried to handle things, and I got back into the car, and she was on the phone, and I was
With
like,
who?
"Oh,
Do you know who she
that's."
was?
I do now, yes.
Mm.
But at the time, I was like, "Oh, is that your?" Like she just said, like, "Oh, like you can come pick me off of the 15. We had a car accident."
Right.
And I was like, oh, was that like your dad or your mom? And she's like, no, that was my boyfriend.
Okay, so she was just this 21-year-old was just hanging out with a teenager.
I guess so, yeah.
Did you ever talk to her again after that?
So I did see her actually very recently.
Okay.
I've been going to the same hairdresser for 15 years, I think.
That's a good
Almost,
run. Good for you.
yeah. And the hairdresser that I go see owns the parlor. And I walked in maybe like, I think it was a year ago, before
And
it was
what's this?
pre-pandemic.
What's this older lady's name? We'll give her a fake name. Let's
Um,
call her Dina.
all right, let's just call her
Call her
Tina.
Dina.
Yeah, I was gonna say her real name, but it's okay.
Well, that's
Uh,
fine.
um, and I walked into to go get a haircut, and she was working there as a hairdresser.
Wow. Now, did she recognize you?
I don't know. Because so this
Hmm.
is the thing about this parlor is that the hairdresser that I goes to see has like a lot of like customers that only get their haircut by her.
Sure.
But the woman who I had previously been on a date with was new, and so she was like, "Oh, you want me to cut your hair?" And I said no because I knew who she was,
Yeah.
and I was like, if she recognizes me, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like I don't want to.
I think you should have done it. I think
That's
you
what
should
other
have.
people have
I
said
think
as
you
well.
should have sat in the chair like this, and then turned and said, "Do you remember me?" Right?
I, yeah, you're not the only person to say that. I will
Well,
say.
there's always next time.
There
Look,
is always next time. I went recently and she was not there actually, so but I know she still works there because she has her locker and her name and whatever.
okay, Dina, of course. So let's
Yeah.
move on to our next question. Again, this has become a very car themed show.
It has, yeah.
You're going on a road trip. Of course, you're the driver. Who would you like to occupy the other 4 spots in the car? You can pick anyone in the whole wide world you want.
Hmm. My partner's looking at me now. I think she wants me to say her.
You can pick her or you don't have to, right? This is your road trip. This is your road trip.
This is tough because I feel like you're a fun person to be on a road trip with. Like we've done enough times.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I'm also gonna go.
So let's say right off the top, you've
Yeah.
selected me over your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
In all fairness, she's looking at me now, but you are a better navigator than she is.
Look, there you go. You heard it here first. Better road trip guy, better navigator. Awesome. Okay, so who's going to be in the back seat?
This is hard. I'm trying to.
Anyone in the world. You could
anyone in the world, alive or dead?
Alive or dead?
Okay. I almost want to go the Dave Kaufman route of saying dead wrestlers, but he also chooses dead wrestlers who are a little bit overweight, and I think that could be a problem for aerodynamics. If
it could be, yeah.
Honest.
But look, it could be a big car.
It's true. Oh, I get to choose the car too?
Why not?
That's a good point.
Why not?
Yeah. I almost know more which car I would want than another person.
Okay, so we're gonna change this. We're gonna change this. I want you to pick your ideal car, and instead of passengers,
okay,
the other passengers are other cars.
Okay.
So I'm in the front seat with you, and what car are we in?
I'm imagining for a road trip, I'm going to go Chrysler 300C.
Okay, so in the back seat, you now need to put 3 other cars.
Okay. I'm going to choose my actual car, Scion XD.
Mm-hmm.
Small, it's convenient.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose actually another car that I used to own, the one that I think you've driven more in, the Nissan Sentra 2006.
That's a great pick.
It's a great pick. And I'm going to go sporty, and I'm going to say one of my favorite sports cars that I've actually been looking at a lot recently is the Mazda RX-7.
Okay, so your ideal road trip car features me
Yeah.
and 3 other cars
Yeah.
inside of a car.
Yeah.
Alex, I promise off the top of this segment, you were not going to pull any punches. And you didn't, because in your ideal road trip, not only did you pick me over your girlfriend, but 3 cars.
Over her.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm a romantic. And I'd like to think that love can survive any hypothetical road trip.
It's true. She could be in one of the 3 cars.
Not with the rules that we've laid out.
Okay, never mind then.
Alex, thanks so much for being here tonight, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Have a good night.
That's Alex Gauthier. Every time he comes on the show, I learn a little bit more about this fine, upstanding citizen. I've known this guy going on 10 years, and he still says things that surprise me. The only guest in show history that I have ever sat down at my desk in front of my computer, opened up a document file, and prepared for. On that note, we're going to move on to another guest who I don't prepare for, but someone who has to mentally prepare for having to be here, because if they had their choice, they would not be here. Let's welcome to the show, Jess Fildes. Jess, welcome back.
Hello.
Did you see that interview with Alex?
I did.
Anything stand out for you as a viewer, a consumer?
The idea of a car managing to fit other cars was quite fantastic.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, pretty
now,
cool.
Jess, you've been on a variety of road trips with me. How would you categorize my road trip companionship?
Good. Yeah, it's better than mine.
Okay, so your answer just began and ended with good.
Yeah.
A multitude of road trips, much like Alex, Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Burlington, Vermont.
Yes.
Quebec City.
Yes. Ottawa.
Ottawa. We've been in planes together.
Yes, true.
And all you settle on was good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great.
Oh, so now it's great.
What do you want me to say?
Well, I don't know. Maybe something better than good. This guy's picking me over his girlfriend. You're giving me good.
I said that you were a much better companion than I am.
That feels like one of those things where it's like, I'm going to seemingly sing the praises of this person by detracting myself. Now, Jess, what would you say as a road trip companion my greatest quality is? Don't pull any punches. You could be as complimentary as you like.
You're pretty good with the music.
Pretty good with the music, yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, you choose good road trip songs
Mm-hmm.
that don't like put me to sleep.
Yeah. Now, do any songs stand out to you? Any standouts? Because I also think I've got quite a good musical taste.
Not that I can recall. Like
so good that you can't recall.
No.
All right.
A few years.
Now, look, I am all about fairness.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair if I asked you to talk about my greatest strengths as a co-pilot without also acknowledging my greatest weaknesses. Now, strengths include I pick good music. Now, what would you say my greatest weakness as a road trip companion is? But don't pull any punches. I can take it.
Oh.
Now, I can tell that there's something you want to say, right? Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so I want for you to not feel any type of insecurity or nerves. I wouldn't have asked the question if I didn't want to know. And I'm sure people would love to know, if I go on a road trip with this James guy, he's going to pick great music, but I got to watch out because...
Okay. Sometimes, and this is, I think, says more about me than
Sure. Yeah. Again.
But sometimes I get anxious when I'm on a road trip and I lose track of where I am, especially if I'm in a new place.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would make fun of me
Right.
while it's happening.
So you're saying that you would perhaps not take a left or a right at the correct place, or maybe miss an exit, and I would make fun of that.
Yeah.
And can you recall how I would do that?
I guess it would be more like making light of it, while I would be like mad at myself.
Right. Now, when you say making light, how would you describe that?
Like in a, like, I guess a bit dismissive.
Dismissive. Okay. And you probably took that I was dismissive of your frustration.
Yes.
Right.
But I think that once again says more about like me in that moment.
That's fine. Now, I want to circle back to this. Now, we talked about how I have the ability to pick good road trip music.
Yeah.
But my greatest weakness as a road trip companion is I'm dismissive of feelings. You feel that's accurate?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. It's not something I would say is still true.
Still, so you think that on some level I may have improved?
Yes.
So would that stand to say that my picking of music has become even greater or has declined in quality?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So, Jess, when you come on this show, right? Yeah. I often ask, what do you want to do tonight? And you're like, I don't know. I don't even want to be there.
It's not that I don't want to be there.
Yeah. I think it's time that we get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So you're on the show right now. How do you feel? On a scale of 1 to 10 Jameses, 1, 10 being the least, 10 Jameses being the greatest, how nervous are you right now?
Like the greatest. Okay. So like a 7.
You're a 7. Okay. Now, when I talked to you earlier today, I had asked, would you like to come on the show tonight? Now, I felt pretty good that you were going to say yes, because when I asked you last week, you said no.
Yeah. Well, I can't say no twice in a row.
That's true. So I have found what gamers call a hack around how to get you on the show. Now, when I asked what you would be doing otherwise, you said you would be in bed.
Yeah.
Which I didn't believe. Believe. I thought you were maybe looking for a way out. No, and now you're here.
Yeah.
And it's fine, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a great subject, me. Right?
Indeed.
Jess, I want to ask you, do you have any questions for me?
Do I have any questions?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's put you on the hot seat, right?
All right.
What if you hosted the rest of this segment?
Okay, James. What was my greatest strength on the road trip?
The fact that you could drive.
Besides that.
You gotta be, so you get 2 strengths. Okay. Greatest, I would say very organized.
Okay.
Very organized and could drive. Let the record show I gave 2 strengths. You only gave me 1. And the weakness you gave me was far more damning than no, it's fine. I asked for it. Yeah, that's what I would say. Organized and you can drive. Yeah.
Okay. And what was my greatest weakness?
Greatest weakness was fear and concern of getting lost.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, look, I don't drive. I've never driven. I cannot speak to what it would feel like to miss your exit. But I also, from years of being a passenger, recognize that these problems are easily solvable. I have never missed an exit and then never gotten to the desired destination.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you know this Randy McWayne guy?
Yeah.
You've heard of Randy McWayne? You've seen the Ice Road Truckers?
I'm going to see him later.
Yeah, he's a driver, so I'll have to also run that by him.
Okay.
All right. So, Jess, you can continue the interview.
Okay. What is the best song on a road trip for you?
The best song? This is a great question. A lot of it depends on the time of day. I think if you were to, you could
9 in the morning.
What time is that now?
9 in the morning. You've
9 in the morning.
Yeah.
So if you're on the road at 9 in the morning, I suspect that you've probably left earlier than that.
Okay.
Most road trips, I don't think, begin at 9. You're either leaving at 6, 7, or 8, or something around 11. So at that point, I'm thinking that you've eased into the road trip 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Right before you hit an exit to go to McDonald's to get a coffee, you're listening to Beast of Burden by Mick Jagger and the famous Rolling Stones. A great morning song.
I'll have to look that one up.
You should, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You can continue the interview now.
Okay. If you could go anywhere right now, other than be in Montreal, where would you go?
Burlington, Vermont.
Okay.
Burlington, Vermont. Why? It's close. Got tasty food, little shops, got Lake Champlain. What more could you want out of a nice, quaint little trip, right? If the what do you call it now? The borders were open, you could make it there and back before curfew.
True.
All right, Jess, I need a hard-hitting question now. You saw the way that I put Goat on the hot seat. His fanny is still toasty.
Okay. I'm gonna steal one of your questions.
Okay, so I did the work.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
What is your most embarrassing moment?
My most embarrassing moment. I'm going to tell you something. Embarrassment is not a feeling that I feel very often, which might be an indictment. I'll tell you what was embarrassing last night before getting into the tub out of sadness. Naked and sad is not something that anyone should ever have to feel. I spent more on takeout dinner than I had intended to, and I couldn't enjoy the food because of how much money I spent. I was embarrassed by that.
Oh.
That's the type of embarrassment I deal with. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think about being naked and sad?
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, right?
Horrible feeling.
Yeah.
So vulnerable.
Now, would you rather, if you had to, be naked and sad, or feel sad, but you're walking down the street wearing a t-shirt that says FBI female body inspector? You own that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of my collection.
Yeah.
I would say I would prefer the latter.
Yeah. So you want to be walking around in your neighborhood as the female body inspector.
Yeah, but sad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you are sad. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something very hilarious in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you wouldn't be concerned about your reputation from a societal standpoint of being known as the female body inspector.
No, I think I could get away with it.
You could get away with that. Okay. All right, Jess. Well, we've got a little bit of time left. I want to check in now. Do you think next time I ask you to appear on this show that it'll be a no? Or do you think we will somehow have found a way to have back-to-back appearances?
I want to be hopeful, so I'll say
okay.
Back-to-back appearances.
Okay, well, and here's the thing. What's so scary about this show, right? Got a very intimate and interactive audience. I'll engage with the chat. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I see you. I appreciate you. And I go back to my guests. What's so scary about this, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
It's all in my head.
Yeah. But you know what? Every time you appear, it gets easier and easier. Final moments here, Jess. If you were to launch your own Twitch show, what do you think that would look like?
Oh, it would probably be me trying to play video games, but like freaking out constantly.
Yeah, maybe you can't even get the video game on.
Yeah.
You can't, and then after an hour, it's like, well, guys, I guess it's not going to work out tonight.
Yeah.
Tune back in next week, but that's the end of it. You don't even bother having a second episode.
And then the rest of my night, I'm just naked and sad.
Oh, there we go. In the comedy world, Jess, what do we call that?
A callback.
A callback. Jess, we did it, right? It's not so bad.
No, it wasn't.
Not so bad. We got Jess Fildes and the disregarder of feelings.
Oh,
That's me. That's me.
You're not that though.
fine. They've called me worse on this thing. Jess, thanks so much for being here. Who knows? Maybe next week, maybe the week after that, maybe in a month.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That's Jess Fildes. She didn't want to be here tonight. You could tell, right? And why would she? Why would anyone want to be on this show when they go, oh, I got to be on the James live show? Because they wouldn't get the name right. No one gets the name right. I'm the only person who calls this show At Home. No one else ever calls it that. They call it James at Home, Live with James. People have called it James Live. Why would I ever name it that? Of all the names, I'm going to pick James, Live. They don't want to come on the show with a disregarder of feelings. That's going to be next week's full theme, how I've disregarded all of my guests' feelings. Speaking of feelings, our next guest has strong ones about glory holes. Let us welcome the legendary ice road trucker, Randy McWayne. Mr. McWayne, how's the day treating you? Yep. Well, I can certainly hear you. Perhaps we're having some, I'll check in with our technician. Yeah. So I'm checking with the technician. Folks, if you can hear Randy McWayne, give us the heads up. And we would appreciate that. So far, I'm hearing things. Apparently, we're getting no audio courtesy of Randy McWayne. No. Well, so as you tinker with that, once again, if you're new to the show, if this is your first time here, just know that we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. What time? Same time as every time. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or perhaps 6 o'clock p.m. if you're a friend from the West Coast. Currently trying to sync in audio with ice road trucker Randy McWayne. The ice roads are not kind. They're not kind. And sometimes it causes technical difficulties. He's coming to us from a cold climate. Well, I'm getting confirmation we can hear you. I'm getting confirmation we hear you. Yeah. Now someone has written, "You're good, Dave." Sometimes people think that you are someone else. Yeah. Okay, so you're on the road, your ice road truck. Oh, now I'm hearing that there is in fact no sound. Well, okay. Well, as we do that, if you don't know Randy McWayne, he is in fact an ice road trucker. He's known for carrying a lot of important cargo, not limited to, but including loose water. That's the story of Randy McWayne. He's here a couple months ago. He's checking in. Apparently, he's got breaking news on his new and apparently most important cargo that he's ever had. And apparently, the most important cargo he ever will have.
Test.
So let's check in one more time. Randy, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm waiting for a production note here from our technician who's working feverishly.
Can you hear me?
On our side of things.
I've hooked into my
It's your you got a CV radio there.
CV radio, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, apparently I'm hearing that we can't hear you, apparently.
All right, yeah, there we go.
Now,
Thank you, CV radio. Meet a lot of nice people on there.
It must be tricky having such difficulty having to connect with people, and this is why the old technology is sometimes still our friend, Randy.
Absolutely, that's why my trucks run on diesel, and my CV radio travels the airwaves old school on the AM.
And you know what they say? Yeah, and you know what they say about me, right? I run on Duncan.
Oh yeah, well that's what America runs on too.
That's what America runs on. Now, you mentioned on the CV radio you meet a lot of interesting people.
Oh yeah.
How about anyone of late? Have you met any friends of the road?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I've met a man. We all go by code names on the CV radio, of course. So I've met Big Dick Johnny. Big
Dick Johnny. I'm getting a note here. If you could bring your microphone or rather your CB radio closer to your mouth.
Closer. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Pumping up,
Now-
making sure I'm on the right channel.
Now you just mentioned Big Dick Johnny.
Yeah.
Now, what's your code name?
Squirrel Boy.
Now, what led you to pick that as your code name on the road?
Well, I travel on the ice road, and wherever I go, I leave some metaphorical nuts around so I can find them wherever I go.
Now, you're talking
later
about
on.
metaphorical nuts. I can only assume that you're talking about your seed.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So you want to tell us something about that? Why have you found yourself leaving your nuts all around?
Well, if you must know, James.
Well, you brought it up.
I did bring it up. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you must know, and you're prying, I'm worried that I'm going to go my whole life and not have any offspring.
Okay.
And I'm worried that I'm going to hit that age. I'm 55 right now, and
You're 55?
yeah. Why? How old do you think I was?
I thought you were maybe in your 30s.
Oh, no. Thank you.
Well, I guess the cold temperatures keep your skin young and lush.
That's right. Much like the man who was frozen in ice for 3,000 years only to be rethawed. When you're trucking on ice, you get preserved.
Of course, you're talking about Encino Man.
I'm talking about Encino Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
Now-
documentary about that guy.
It was a great documentary. Now, you mentioned leaving your seed. Now, this is not the reason I would have anticipated. You're concerned about not having a child.
That's right. So if I one day drive back to a town that I've been before, where my seed is preserved, I can, and I meet someone who wants to sire a child of mine, I can collect that seed from my hiding spot. And
Wait, this is not in a sperm bank? You've taken your semen and you've hidden it in various places across North America?
why pay for a sperm bank, James, when you're surrounded by ice all the time?
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, you're hiding it in the snow and under the ice?
In the snow, under the ice, in a snowman.
So your
snow
plan
globe
is
machine.
to go, if I'm understanding correctly, your plan is to go back to these cities where you have left your sperm in hopes of meeting a woman who will sire your child so you can bring her back to your hidden bounty. If that's the case, why wouldn't you just have sexual intercourse?
Well, I don't want
What's
to have a kid now, James. I'm a professional. I
understand. So
13 months of the year.
13 months of the year. Okay, super. Now, I understand that you're carrying a very important shipment in, that looks like your water truck.
Yeah, I've repurposed my water truck because of the pandemic, of course, James.
Of course,
And,
okay.
I'm driving around with fresh, piping hot vaccine.
When you say piping hot, you mean figuratively.
Figuratively piping hot. It is quite
Okay.
cold in the back of those trucks.
Okay, so in that truck, in the tank, it's vaccine?
It's vaccine, yeah.
Are they loose or are they in needles?
Loose vaccine. And then I go from town to town, and I needle by needle I suck out some of the vaccine, and then
Can we
jam
take a
it
look
in.
at that syringe? Can
Yeah.
I see this syringe?
yeah. Well, yeah. So I use the same syringe on all my patients.
Wait, hold on now. There's a lot I want to come to understand here. You're administering the
Yeah.
vaccine?
I go to the top of my truck, I scoop out some vaccine.
Scoop it out.
Well, so I plunge out some
Okay.
vaccine. Then I tell the person.
And that's
that-
the sound it makes? It makes a fart noise?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Everyone gets a nice little chuckle out of it when
Yeah.
they,
Yeah, of
often
course,
there's
yeah.
a high tension when you're
Yeah.
getting your vaccine. People aren't sure if it's safe. People aren't
Yeah.
sure if it's going to hurt. But the fart noise really
Yeah,
calms
it
people
breaks the
down.
tension.
Yeah. So then sting, and I jab it into the inner thigh of.
Now, well, this is interesting on a variety of levels. One, that you're administering the vaccine into the thigh, whereas health officials are doing it into the arm. Can you help us understand why you've selected the thigh?
Well, that's a good reason. The needle that I'm using, you see, is quite dull, so I have to take a big wind up in order for it to penetrate the skin and administer the vaccine.
When you inject the needle, does it also make a fart noise going in?
No, James, don't be crass.
Okay, so we've gotten that answer. Now, can I figure out why you are giving the vaccine? I wasn't aware that you have a background in health and medicine.
Well, I do, but thanks for the judgment based on, I guess, my appearance.
I wasn't making any judgment.
Well, you made an assumption.
Why would I judge your appearance when you and I are dressed virtually the same?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I travel in ice road towns, right? So there's not a lot of medical staff that can
I understand
that can get to these towns. So
Okay.
I deliver it myself. I have the technology, I have the wherewithal, I have the strength, and it's a one-man job.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, my final question: How
you
is
have
it
pre-prepared
safe?
questions for this?
No, it's just based off of everything you've told me.
Oh, okay.
How is it on any level possible that you are using the same needle on everyone?
Well, I clean the tip.
Oh, you clean the tip, which makes it a lot safer.
Yeah, I disinfect the tip.
With what?
Vaccine.
You disinfect the tip of the needle with COVID vaccine.
Yeah, because vaccine kills viruses.
Now,
So I use that to kill any potential viruses that would be on the tip of my needle.
okay, I understand, but have you maybe considered the
James,
fact that
it is true you don't have a background in medicine, do you?
I am not questioning your methods. I'm only
Despite
asking,
how you're dressed.
I'm only asking questions about them. I'm not questioning them.
Oh yeah, I've heard that a lot. I'm only asking questions about the vaccine. I'm not
so
questioning
other
it.
people have asked these same questions?
Not these ones, but they're wondering if it works or if it's safe.
Okay,
a lot
so
of anti-vaxxers are kind of on the
you're
same
telling me
route as
nobody-
you are.
Now, look, I don't want this to turn into some type of war of words here. I'm just trying to understand. Now, you're telling me that I'm the first person to ask a question about the fact that you have been reusing a syringe on what I'm guessing is hundreds of people. The people getting the vaccine have never once said, hey, isn't that the same needle you used on the person before me?
Not once.
Not once. Have you considered the fact that perhaps the reason you're reusing this needle is the reason that it's dulled out and you need to now inject into the thigh?
I have considered that, yeah. And you are onto something. It is the reason that it's dull.
Well, so this leads me down to probably the most important question that I will ever ask tonight is, why don't you just buy more syringes?
Where? Look around me, James. You see a medical store?
You're telling me that you've managed to get your hands on what looks to be gallons of this vaccine, but you can't find one more syringe?
Yeah, you figured it out, James. Congratulations.
I figured what out?
The reason why I only have one syringe.
Which is?
That I figured out how to find all this vaccine, but I haven't figured out how to find other needles.
So I figured it out because you figured it out?
You figured out that I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Right. Okay. Now I'm understanding correctly. So I guess my next question is, have you taken the vaccine yet?
Oh, yeah. Dozens of times.
Wait, you've given yourself 12 vaccines?
At least, yeah.
But I thought that medical experts...
Well, every time I give somebody a vaccine, I take one for myself.
Wait, you take a chaser?
People are nervous, James. So I say, look, it's safe, and I
that makes
jab
sense.
one into my leg, and then I jab one into their leg.
So people that might be concerned about taking the vaccine in order to prove its, shall we say, efficacy, you're taking it to ease their minds. I understand that, but I thought that medical officials and experts such as yourself have recommended that only 2 doses are necessary.
Well,
Wouldn't that have some type of reaction?
The minimum.
Minimum. Okay, so there is no maximum.
There's no maximum.
So you said dozens. If
I
you
feel
had
great, by the way.
a rough estimate, how many times have you self-injected with the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't know, at least 450 times.
450 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask which
I'm
of the
invincible,
vaccines?
James.
What's that now?
I'm invincible, James.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. Can I ask which you've taken? Which of you administered? Is this Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, the Johnson & Johnson?
I'm not sure, James. I got them all in there.
Wait, you've got a party mix?
I've got a mix of all of them in there.
You're telling me you have 4 different vaccines.
They're all
mixed
swashing and swirling in the back of my truck as I drive down the ice highway.
So this is a mix and mashup of all 4 vaccines that have been approved.
Yeah. I'm a bit concerned about the AstraZeneca one, though.
Oh, so after the
AstraZeneca?
400th injection, you're a little worried.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you have taken 400 doses of your super vaccine. What are you doing?
Sorry, sometimes I just
Was
get
that
the,
did you just have a moment of passion?
I just get the instinct to roid out. There's steroids in there too.
Okay, so you've also added anabolic steroids to your COVID vaccine. So you basically created your own vaccine.
I've made a mixtape, if you will, of
all the greats.
of all the great drugs.
All the greats, yeah.
And they're all swirling about in the back of my truck.
Now, are you intending on branding this
Squirrel.
super vaccine? Oh, it's called Swirl?
No, I'm the squirrel.
Oh, the squirrel. Well, how about you call it the Squirrel Swirl?
There you go, James. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to get that on the back flaps of my truck, the ones that catch the snow before it flies out the back.
It's very eye-catching. Now, I assume that the people that are taking this vaccine, you're donating it, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, the people that have accepted to receive the vaccine, they don't need to pay for it. I suspect that you are not charging people for the...
Well, I had to find a way to buy this.
You bought those? You're not shipping them. You just bought them.
I bought it, yeah.
How much are you charging people for a COVID vaccine?
It's like $15.
$15 per shot, and you estimate that you've given 400 of these.
Oh, at least, yeah.
So if you've taken 400, that would be fair to say that you've also given 400.
That's great math, James. You should get into math more often.
Oh, thanks. So I should get into math.
Did I stutter?
Well, no, you didn't. I just wanted to make sure that that's what you were suggesting I do with my life.
Yeah.
So how much did these vaccines cost you?
Oh, I can't tell you that, James.
Well,
look, I got a guy. Big
a
dick
vaccine guy or a steroid guy?
Both.
Oh, so you have one of each.
Yeah, his name's Big Dick Charlie. And he hooked me up with...
Not to be confused with the first guy you mentioned earlier.
Are you claiming that had a different name? Are you claiming that
Yeah.
that person had a different name? You'd be correct.
Yeah.
Not to be
So
confused.
how
with
many,
that guy.
just out of curiosity, how many people do you know whose name begins with Big Dick?
Like 400.
400, okay. I'm starting to find a theme here. How many of these people have you
You ever see
injected
that movie,
with?
James?
What's that?
You ever see that movie?
What movie?
400?
Do you mean 300?
No, this is the sequel. They added another 100.
Oh, they had another 100 warriors?
Yeah.
I haven't seen either, in fact.
Okay. It's okay.
All right. So there was nothing to do with the actual story. You just want to know if I had seen the film.
That's right.
All right. What other films do you like?
I love Dude, Where's
You seem
My
to be a
Car?
guy who really specifically enjoys sequels.
Hey, here, come here. Let me tell you a secret, actually.
Well, we're on the air. Yeah.
I really like Road Trip.
The film.
The film Road Trip.
Yeah. That's a secret?
Yeah, it's a secret I like. I tell my closest friends.
Well, why is that a secret?
Because no one can know that you like road trips or the movie Road Trip.
And why is that? Your whole life is spent on the road.
Because. Just because.
So I gather I'm not getting an answer to that question.
No.
All right. Well, Randy, we're just about out of time. Anything that you want to let people know about where they can find your vaccination centers?
I'm on the CV radio, so look for
Squirrel.
the squirrel. Feel free to ping the squirrel on the lines, and yeah, if you see a truck with the squirrel swirl on the back flaps of the tires, give me one of these, and maybe I'll honk my horn, and maybe I'll pull over.
All right. And is there anything you want to do to temper people's concerns about reusing your needle?
Look, between every vaccine, I clean it with more vaccine, which kills viruses. So
And how do you clean it? Or are you just dipping it into the well?
I dip it into the well of vaccine.
You don't want to dip it into the well of virus.
That's right. You're right. Oh man, yeah. I transported some viruses.
Wait, hold on.
Through Wuhan.
Which viruses?
What? I'm not allowed to say, but it was a gig I was doing in China.
Was it another party mix of different viruses?
Yeah.
All right, I guess that'd be a story for another occasion.
Yeah, you'll have to have me back.
Well, I think I'm going to have to now.
That's what I said.
Well, I'm glad that we both said it.
Am I stuttering or something, James?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Randy, thanks so much for being here tonight, and good luck, and please drive safe, okay?
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's Randy McWayne, the Ice Road trucker. He is giving out COVID vaccines using the same needle. Although keep in mind, this is not the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. No, this is his swirl of all the vaccines, but it also features anabolic steroids. So if you're looking to bulk up, but also fight COVID-19, Randy McWayne is the man to see. Folks, that is our show. Thank you so much for being here tonight to the chat room. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for enjoying tonight's festivities. And thanks for contributing to all of tonight's funds. Of course, I have to thank Randy McWayne. I want to thank Jess Fildes for being here. And I must thank Alex, the young man Gauthier, for bearing his soul. We are going to be back this coming Wednesday right here. I want you to have a good sleep tonight. Wake up, have a cup of coffee, tea, Ovaltine, whatever it is you drink in the morning. Have a nice Tuesday. Go to bed nice and early, because Wednesday, things are going to get wet and wild. Why? I don't know. How? I'm not sure yet. But will it? The answer is yes. I give you a James McGee guarantee. Until then, I am James. You are you. We were here. Good night, goodbye, farewell, and of course, be well.